Good morning, viewers at home. Welcome to the program Superdawn. I am Vera Super with you this morning.
It's blessed Mono's a wonderful Wednesday edition of the show. Good morning, Vera. So good to be here again.
Good to see you this morning.
Same here.
Well, today on this program, we're going to do the World Population Day. It's usually celebrated on the 11th of July every year. And this year is not exempted, where the topic is, the theme for this year is family planning and human rights. Well, we're going to look at all that because if you look at the statistics of the world population, the way it is going right now, your heart will keep beating. Well, we want to look at it. And also, I'm going to give you some figures where from 1963, the population was not that high. It was about 56 million people. When you move down to 1991, it came to 88.9 million persons. Then you move downwards again in 2006. 2006, that's about 140 million people. Then when you look at the latest estimate of what the population is in Nigeria, we're looking at 98 million Nigerians. So we're going to look at that and look at what we're supposed to be driving as a population. It is always said that if you see any 3 persons in the world, one of them must be a Nigerian. Well, we will look at all that this morning and try to educate people on the need for family planning. Away from that, this Saturday is zoomed to a Ekiti state election, and it's going to be the litmus test for the APC party in Ekiti State. Well, we're going to look at all that. 33,000 police personnel, police personnel is being deployed down there. We have loads of private security agencies moving there, and what the British is saying concerning that election, no rigging. Well, that's what we're going to do today on the program. Don't forget, what we usually start with is the newspaper review segment. We'll go on this break now, and when we come back, we get the newspaper review.
Superdawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed. Now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Welcome back. It's the newspaper review segment, and this morning we just take the headlines. I want to start with the Nation newspaper. The first one here, APC, 20 others join forces to tackle anti-Buhari's coalition. And the writer is saying Baralem Musa knock PDP-led coalition. You have lots of stories there. Buhari, Oshomole, Tinubu governors, minister 6 vote for Fayemi. Still in that paper this morning, ex-Ondo deputy governor's girl, I reported suspect to police, says dad. We have here president were tackling killings, and that's coming in from President Muhammadu Buhari. From the reps, it says reps in 100 billion NNPC probe. We have 30 million for repairs. Kwara police parade suspect. You get more stories in the Nation newspaper this morning. Just get a copy.
Starting off now with the New Telegraph newspaper this morning, I'm reading with a bold caption here which reads, "I'm not losing sleep over party's coalition," and that's coming from our president himself, President Muhammadu Buhari, and the writer reads, "Kiamo, MOU to unseat president, political fraud. APC, no gang up can stop Buhari. You can find that story on page 2 of the New Telegraph paper this morning. And off the top of the New Telegraph newspaper this morning, bank short over police redeployment to Ekiti. Page 5 has the story. And still on the New Telegraph newspaper this morning, I will review grave cases in APC government. And that's coming from former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And also reads, says Buhari administration more corrupt than PDP. Page 4 has that story. All this and more you can find on the New Telegraph paper this morning. Okay,
moving away from the New Telegraph, we'll take some stories in the Daily Trust this morning. We have terminal illness. Lack of facilities take toll on patients and families. Also in the papers, we have Buhari can't condole killings. Go on. FEG meeting deadlock again. And still in the Daily Trust, we have court grants EFCC leave for interim fortitude of ex-governor Aliu's assets. Still in the papers, 7 lawyers debarred, 12 suspended in 6 months. Probe NNPC crude oil sales, rep says. Hijab controversy, Fadusa Amasa gets called to bar with her hijab on. Ekiti poll commission to monitor police conduct. Well, they've decided to monitor police conduct. We have here VSF support Adamu IDPs to resume farming. Over 35,000 IDPs return to communities in northern Borno. We have fuel loading threatened as PEF withdraws staff from debtors depot. We also have in the papers this morning, Disco gets injunction to continue. Well, finally from the Daily Trust, we have, I don't want to, am I giving an advert out? No. But we have this, Delta flies record 17.7 million passengers in June. That's all we can take here on those papers, the Daily Trust this morning.
I'm taking over now with the Punch newspaper this morning, which happens to be the last paper for this morning newspaper review. I'm starting off with the bold caption on the news. The front page of the Punch, Plateau massacre suspect must be tried in court. In Jos, beg your pardon, and that's coming from Gowon. Page 3 has the story. And the writer reads, rejects military plan to move accused persons to Abuja. Imo lawmakers begin impeachment proceedings against deputy governor. You can find that story on page 12 of the Punch newspaper. And still on the Punch newspaper this morning, truck driver strike causes congestion at Lagos port. Page 30 has that story. Debt. FG may cut power supply to Republic of Benin. Benin. Niger and Togo.
I think we need to take that story.
Okay, quickly.
I think we need to get that when it comes to that. You know, it's electricity and the power supply is, I don't know, dilapidated right now.
Yeah,
I don't know what is going on.
It really baffles us that we are supplying power to these countries, Benin, Niger and Togo, and still we are having challenges giving our own citizens.
We don't have enough. And we're giving out.
I'll quickly take that story here. President Muhammadu Buhari has joined operators in the power sector to call on international customers who receive electricity from Nigeria to either pay their bills or be disconnected. Nigeria sells power to the Republic of Togo, Niger and Benin and classify the West African countries as international customers. Officials at the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing told the Punch newspaper on Tuesday that the international customers who pay for the power they receive from Nigerian in dollars own the country, a development that had increased the financial indebtedness to the power generation company. Okay, quickly I'll just go down here where the Minister for Power, Works and Housing is speaking. That's Babatunde Fashola, who however reviewed that Buhari was working hard to ensure that the electricity debt by the neighboring countries were cleared. They are owing us, and then they are yet to make some necessary payments. And the president has come out to say if these countries are not paying their dues, then we can't be supplying them power. And then again, another thing I want us to look at here is why should we be supplying constant power to our neighboring countries, which they regard as international customers, and then we as Nigerians are not having enough of this? What's your take on that?
Well, for me, I don't see the reason why we should be giving out but we don't even have enough. You know, Nigeria needs a lot of electricity. If you're talking about infrastructure, if you're looking at the economy and you want improvement, electricity is key. Power is key. In fact, power is economy itself, because that's what's going to drive it. If you want to improve in your economy, it's power. You want to do business, companies, it's power. So if you don't have enough, I don't see why we should be supplying outside country if some people somewhere aren't making enough money from this.
All right, I'm still on the Punch newspaper this morning. Tamboa blames killings and leadership failure. Page 10 has that story. And I quickly take this. 2019, more parties to join alliance soon, said Secondus. No conspiracy can make us waver. And that's coming from the APC. Page 11 has the story. NSDC arrests man who raped daughter for 3 years. And police nab housewife for pouring hot water on maid. That's a very, very sad story there. Page 5 has the full details of that story. Buhari supporters clash over souvenirs at Abuja rally. It's quite funny there. And page 11 has the story. Finally, on the Punch newspaper this morning, talking about Ekiti poll, Buhari, governors, Tinubu campaign for Fayemi, Fayoshi cheats, APC for hiring crowd, Ondo Bank short over corp.
When you say APC for hiring staff, what begins to smile? Crowd to come and vote. Campaign. It's supposed to be one's opinion. It's supposed to be what you want.
All right, page 7 has that story, and that does it for me on the Punch newspaper this morning.
Well, that's where we end this segment of the newspaper review, and today we just took the headlines. But we're moving away to the World Population Day. It's an event that is usually celebrated every year, the 11th of July. But we want to look at this unchecked, continuous rise of population in Nigeria, because we must begin to look at the high rate of unemployment, crime rate, what is attributing to this, and that's why we are here today. And also, remember I told you the theme for this year is family planning, human rights. We'll go on this break now. We will be right back. Welcome back. Where we want to look at family planning, human rights. That's a theme for this year's Family World Population Day. Well, if you look at Nigeria from a distance, you just know that it's highly populous. I must say that because loads of people look at Nigeria and begin to imagine how they even surviving in a country like this. Well, today in the program, we have a guest. We have Adewale Hatrop, a senior program officer, advocacy and demand generation. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Vera. How are you doing?
Beautiful. Now we're looking at the theme for this year, family planning, human rights. First, when we say family planning, what does that mean?
Thank you. So family planning encompasses a lot of things. It talks about how you as a human being plan how you want your life to look like. It is not just, a lot of people look at it that it is just about you not having children, but it goes beyond that. Just like when you want to get married, you prepare for it. You plan for your marriage. You want to talk about how do I prepare, what do I use, what I wear, and the same thing applies to a family. How many children do we want to have as a couple? And that is what family planning is all about. Okay,
but right now, this year's theme is saying human rights. Yes. Is it a right to go into family planning?
Thank you so much. It is your right. Nobody can force you to have 2 children, 3 children, 4 children. You have that very right to say, I want to have this. And this has been for over 50 years. At the United Nations International Conference, Human Rights International Conference, 50 years ago, it was adopted that couples have that right to determine the number of children they want to have. And so it's your right. Nobody can force you to have 2, 3, 4, 5. You have that right.
But with lots of revelations saying that 800 women are dying daily due to the procedure of giving birth in Nigeria. Are you sure Nigerians are aware of this? Are we educated enough to understand family planning?
Okay, so part of that right, I will say be answering that. So part of that right is to have adequate information. Like just what you have said now, people are dying. A lot of women are dying as a result of putting to bed, as a result of having children. And so if we give them the information that if you plan your family, if you have this particular, you space the way you give birth, then you will have better life. You'll be able to live elderly, even the baby you are carrying, and then by the time you put to bed, will also be able to have a quality life. And then you know that there will be reduction of maternal mortality. And so that is why we, even where I work, Nigerian Urban Reproductive Health Initiative, help the state to provide adequate information about why you need to space your children.
Okay, so what is happening in Nigeria today, with the rates, with the figures we have, loads of people, they're not even aware of it. Yeah. Is it really cheap to come by? Is it cheap to go into family planning? Because we're looking at reproductive system right now. Yeah. Is it cheap to say, hey, okay, I want to go into it? Some people are fixed in some traditional beliefs around this family planning and the rest.
So family planning is free when you go to government facilities. Government has made it from the federal government down to the states and even to the local government level. Of course, when you get there, because of peculiarities of Nigeria and our state and even some local government, people will still have to pay possibly for little items like consumables, maybe needles, syringe, or you have to pay for gloves. But these are just minute things compared to what you have to go through if you get pregnant. So, and it's everywhere. These facilities are everywhere. In Lagos State, we have over 200 health facilities that are owned by government. And these facilities provide family planning services. Ordinarily going for counseling alone, even without adopting a method, goes a long way. Because it prepares you that these are ways by which you can protect yourself. Again, there have been so many myths and misconceptions. People have said so many things that if you adopt family planning, a lot of things will happen, but that is not true.
Are you saying if you adopt it, if you start this exercise,
Yeah.
Because a lot of people believe that when you go into family planning, you might not have children again in life if you try the first time.
Okay.
Is that not true?
I always use myself as example, a practical example. And to the glory of God, I have 3 children. And we have been using family planning since we had our first child. So it is not true that once you adopt family planning, you will not have children. And there are so many satisfied users who we even now showcase in a lot of our programs, in a lot of our activities, even sports that we air. We show that satisfied users who have adopted family planning can still go back to have children. So it is not true that when you adopt family planning, you won't be able to have children.
But once you're doing family planning, you know that you have physical changes in the body, isn't it? How
so one of the things that you get to hear when you go for counseling, when you get to the facility, and that is why we insist and we also encourage people to go to a service provider that is well trained. And how do you get this? Now we've adopted the green dot, and then we have the Get It Together logo that shows you where you can actually go to, where you will get these services. These providers will be able to give you adequate counseling. Some people would rather go to what we call the chemist, and then they will say, my friend is using this method, please, I want to buy this particular method. And because you have gone to a place where they will not have time to counsel you, it is not that they don't know to, but they won't have the opportunity to counsel. They only want to sell what they have. And so they will sell to you, and at the end of the day, the person will come back to say, this is what has happened to me. But if you go to a certified provider, you will be adequately counseled. And then you will actually have to make that informed choice, but that will be based on the different level of information that you get.
So what's this effect on our daily life when you go into family planning? What's the effect on the daily life of a Nigerian?
So the effect is this. As a husband, you have peace of mind. You can go to your work, put your mind at rest, and not being afraid that your wife is sickly, there is one problem somewhere, one child that you are not able to train is giving problems somewhere. For the woman have a better life. The woman will not have to die at her prime. A lot of women have had to die because they were not opportune. We've had stories of people who were not able to take their pregnancy to term, and they die in the course of that, because we also know that for you to be able to be adequately ready to have another pregnancy, you need to have rested at least for over 18 months. But a lot of people will not take that. So as a result of that, they end up dying when they are not ready. Again, we've had a lot of teenage pregnancies.
Before you go into the teenage pregnancy, where you say they have to wait for 18 months. What if the man is not understanding? What happens? Because it's not all about the woman as well.
I agree.
You have the man that needs to understand that this is how it's done.
Yeah.
What if they cannot understand? What do you think?
So that is one of the reasons why we also talk a lot, and the state government, Lagos state government is actually talking a lot about male involvement in family planning. Because the men that we talk about, if they refuse, some of them will refuse their wife that, oh no, I can't use condom with you. However, this same man will go outside, and this is something that we don't want to let happen any longer. So why don't you allow your wife to adopt a method? By adopting a method, then you are free with your woman at any time. And so we encourage, we all agree, and we know that a lot of people will say it's a man's word, it's men's word, but it shouldn't be. It's a joint decision. The man and the woman should be able to decide that this is what we want.
Okay, but and again, because it's so disturbing that you even see educated people not even wanting to go into family planning. You know, some ladies will say it makes me add more weight and I want to look younger for my husband. Yeah. Some people will tell you they are mother-in-laws and not allowing them do this family planning. And we have some traditional method. Are this method not really working? Because gone are those days, you know, those days, if you are close to your parent, you hear that they didn't actually use any needle, they were not pierced anywhere, no tablet. What they did was traditional method. Does this method work?
Thank you. So we've heard a lot of traditional method, and we have also heard a lot of the failure rates of traditional method. And so why do I want to go to a method that fails a lot? There are so many methods that the people have spoken about. But at the end of the day, you see, oh no, I didn't want to get pregnant, but our method failed. Oh no, my husband did not do what he was supposed to do at a particular period of time, and so this is why it failed. In Lagos, yes, I can say that we have a high rate of people using traditional method, but they also have a high rate of failure. And then one of the reasons people also say they believe in using this traditional method is what one of the things we've spoken about. Yes, because people had told them this is what they did, or yes, people had said if you use this method, this is what you get. But they are not listening to those who are using the modern contraceptive method and who have a lot of good stories to talk about. It doesn't change anything. My wife had always been the way she is since I met her, and she has not changed. So it depends on the method you adopt and where you adopt this particular method. And for our mother-in-laws, yes, a lot of them also insist, oh no, don't do this. But it's their time. One of the things I also learned is that women or mothers in those days will be sent to their own mothers to win the baby. So within that period, the man is not with her. The woman is not with the man, and so nothing can happen. But the moment she comes back again, she puts to bed. We cannot have that kind of life, because women will have to go to work, husbands will have to go to work. I mean, so they want to live together. And so there is no way.
Sorry, I'm going to hold you on there, but we need to open the phone lines now. You can call, ask questions, and also give suggestions to the World Population Day. Yes, go ahead.
So there is no way we want to be sending our women, okay, I work in Lagos, so do I send my wife back to Kwara State where my parents are staying anytime she puts to bed? This is not practicable. And that is why we have to adopt this modern contraceptive.
Are you saying that this modern contraceptive doesn't fail? Are you saying it won't fail?
So by record, what we know is that at least 99.9%. So because we also believe that God supersedes every human being and whatever endeavor we put in. So there could be, but it is one out of, a million that you could have that kind of failure, but it is not common.
Okay, we know that about 1.8 million billions youngsters are right now entering reproductive years,
Yeah.
and seeing the ratio of those that just go in, say 13, 14, and loads of people losing their lives, going into it without knowing what they are going into. We're going to go to the northern part of this country in Nigeria, where some of them just they don't understand it, and you see a girl of 18 years of age, she'd had 3-4 kids, no husband, no children, and the population rate is going. Right now we have about 198 million Nigerians living on it. That is just the statistics. We're not too sure. That's why I said about or above. Let's put it that way. But looking at the rate and looking at social amenities in this country, one will begin to wonder what's going to happen if it keeps rising and we don't have jobs. You don't have social amenities, no good hospital, nobody to educate them. Yeah. Are we not sitting on a time bomb?
We are. And that is why we also keyed as a nation into the Sustainable Development Goal. And one key thing, once we are able to achieve that, then we'll be able to even achieve the Sustainable Development Goal. So I'll break it. Family planning. It erases poverty. Because if you plan your family, okay, I'm going to have a child this year, in the next 3 years, that's when I'm going to have the next one. I can plan. I can know that in the next 3 years I will need money because this one will be going to school. So I would have been able to save. And then I will know that my wife will also be able to contribute. There are some women when they are pregnant, they cannot really be active. Some will not be able to go to work. Those who sell cannot go to shop, or they go to shop, they will not be able to keep up with what they're expected to do. And then, that is one. Two, what is the nation providing? We all know it. Light, water, even health. Because the way we have this budge, a lot of our government is not able to match up with what we have in the country, with the population. So at the end of the day, recently we were discussing about Lagos State. and we heard Lagos State is about 23 million, and then in about a year after, we heard that you have about 25 million in Lagos State.
High.
So does it mean that government will have to go back every year to be thinking, okay, these people will have gone beyond this? And most states have their plan. Lagos State has like 5-year, 10-year plan, but within that period, we have this population budget. So it's a lot of things, and that is why once each family takes it as a responsibility that I am going to plan and I am going to work towards this, especially when you look at the children, the young ones that we spoke about earlier on. They are actually the largest in the country now, and they need this information. But parents would rather not give their children information. All they will say is, do not go near that man, or do not go near women, whereas they're already doing it. And at the end of the day, mistakes happen. Some will die in the process because they are in school, they cannot even disclose to their friends or to their peers or to their parents. So at the end of the day, you will have, we've had series of abortion, complicated, people will die, or they will lose their womb, and then
issues keep arising.
Honestly.
But is government doing enough?
So government has started doing a lot of, they are making a lot of efforts. One of it is providing modern contraceptive for free.
Okay,
the government of Nigeria...
You're not going to pay for that?
You are not paying for the contraceptive. Even state governments are also trying. Some state governments have started, making provision. Like Lagos State is making provision that you have consumables in these facilities. But like we said, population budget. So if government has provided for per facility 50 people, and at the end of the day you are seeing more than 50 people, then the providers will not have to, they can't use their own personal money for consumables. So they will now ask the clients, can you bring 100 naira, 200 naira, so that you can use it to buy this consumable, and then these services are given.
Okay, what about enlightenment? Because that is not just not just providing for the medical enlightenment.
In the area of enlightenment, government of Lagos State is also trying with support from partners.
We don't just want to look at Lagos State. We're looking
even
at
Nigeria as a whole.
Nigeria
I am aware that yes, even the federal government is also doing a lot. The government of Nigeria is spending money. For example, recently we just adopted what we call the Green Dot. The Green Dot is to show everybody everywhere that services, family planning services are provided here. And so it's been launched over a year now. And this is something to just create awareness and to direct people to where facilities, where family planning services can be gotten. Again, government of Nigeria is also doing a lot of commercials or sports, telling people about family planning and why you need to adopt family planning.
Okay, we're wrapping up now, about looking at all. Do they have programs today for this event? Today
is World Population.
Yes.
And everywhere, since Monday actually, there have been a series of activities. I know that by tomorrow, there's going to be another program where we have teenagers in Lagos State at Ikeja, where Ikeja Youth Center, where teenagers, elderly people will sit down together to talk about way forward. And this is also being sponsored by the National Population Commission and the state government, supported by NURI. It is just for us to show that things work, but people need information. On Friday, there will be another one that's also being organized by the state government and Lagos State government, just to continue the same discussion on World Population Day. That World Population Day is not saying control, and that is why we call it World Population Day. It is not talking about control, but it's talking about, yes, we need our population, but how do we use the population right? And how do we populate our nation in the right way?
Okay, final advice for those youth out there, parents out there, government agencies. What are your advice for them?
So the advice is this: let us provide the right information. Let's give adequate information to the young ones. We should not restrict information and believe that these young ones don't need them, because as it is, they know even more than even the elderly ones. And with that, modern contraceptive is safe. It's a method. You are free to choose any method you like. It is just for you to go to a service provider and then ask your friends, talk about it, especially those who have been using modern contraceptive. Talk about it to your neighbors, to your peers, so that they will also enjoy what you are enjoying.
I want to thank Mr. Adewale Atrop, Senior Program Officer, Advocacy and Demand Generation. Thank you for coming. One of these days we're going to invite you so we can, educate people more on the need for family planning. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Well, viewers at home, we'll go on this break, and when we come back, we want to look ahead of the Ekiti election. We'll be right back. Back, we want to look at ahead of Ekiti election come this Saturday. The governorship election in Ekiti will hold this Saturday, and before this Saturday, we've been seeing events here and there in Ekiti where if you zoom to Ekiti, you see campaign had started even before now, and everybody is talking about that election. Ade Ekiti has been welcoming visitors in and around that community. Well, we want to look at Ekiti, and looking at the IGP had sent 30,000 policemen there. We've seen observers going into Ekiti. We've seen party members trooping down to Ekiti State, and this is going to serve as a litmus test for the APC come 2019 election. But we have a guest in the studios this morning. We have Chief Dr. Osita Patrick Chukwu. He is a politician and also a human rights activist. Good morning to you, Dr. Chukwu.
Thank you. Happy to meet you.
Welcome, sir, to the show.
Thank you very much. Happy to welcome you.
It is not new when we say election in Ekiti State. We've seen it turned around. We've seen different drama even before Governor Fayose came in. But right now, the governor that was there before is coming back to Ekiti State. Do you think we're going to have a free and fair election come Saturday this week?
I thank you so much for this program, because it's part of my vision as a politician, as a human rights defender, and a maritime practitioner. I think I believe that whatever you are doing in this life, try to get to the roots and become a grassroots professional in that. Politics in Nigeria now is turning something else, and I still believe that we are brothers and sisters. We don't need to create a kind of a scenario whereby somebody will be thinking after the politics no more Ekiti, or after the politics there's a new Ekiti. So there must be winner, but the only thing, have you done your grassroots work? Have you been able to put one and two together to see that if I know I'm going to lose? Because nobody, when you're going for a fight, you don't believe going to be a loser. That is what I'm seeing. But me looking at Fayose have been somebody who have been giving me a very good kind of encouragement in what he's doing. He's a governor that I testify, if you have some people like that in Nigeria, about 10, I think the country will be changed. Because not even what he's doing for Ekiti, but how he's carrying his people. You see, politics is about courage. If you don't carry your people along with you, to see the transparency in you, there's no need. You can never be a grass politician.
Doctor, let me quickly ask you this. Now, this election is not about Fayose himself.
Yes.
Though, one of his loyalists is coming out as the candidate for the PDP. And looking at the antecedents of the PDP candidate and that of the APC, former Minister of Steel and Development, what can you see will make will be the outcome of this governorship election?
Thank you very much. I believe that what you said, Fayemi, for the first time, he could not be able to go for second term, was exactly the particular thing that will still make him not to be. You can see Fayose and his people. Hardly you see governors that can come in the table and be eating with the people.
But
you understand?
A lot of people
go to Fayemi office and seek for appointments.
But doctor, we saw the crowd.
We are talking of grassroots.
Yes.
Go to Fayemi office and seek for appointments, or to see him from his own domain there, and then seek for Fayose. Fayose come out. Disabled, Okada riders, the transport, in fact, virtually market women and so on, the widows. In fact, Ekiti remains a PDP state. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, shouldn't election...
if you carry the whole Nigeria and go there, Ekiti will still a factor to APC.
Doctor, sorry to interrupt you there. Shouldn't election be about the people? Must it be a do or die affair?
It's about the people, but I'm sorry to use this word. APC themselves have chosen that whether you like or not, Nigeria will continue being in doom. Have we been?
Why this kind of allegation? Why do you have this kind of allegation against them?
I and you knows actually well that many are yet to get their salaries. In my own domain, the maritime domain, no road at all to go. For virtual 5 days now, people were on strike, protests here and there. Policies that does not even matter are being brought in. You were last time in a forum when I spoke. You see, what is happening in this country is because we've not got the right key to the right door. That's all. The moment you get the right key to the right door, most of these things will not be happening.
Now let's look
go to other states. For example, go to other states. All other state PDP states, you look at them, how they're moving. If you want to continue in darkness, we will help you to continue in darkness. But if you want to go to, I don't believe in going to darkness where I can see a light to move.
But doctor, I want to call your attention to something here. It's quite obvious that you're on the part of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, and the present administration. But the people are the one who determine who will be their leader come July 14th.
Exactly. Yes.
But they are going to look at beyond the grassroots now. They're going to look at the infrastructures. Do they have all it takes to want to do business in Ekiti State and succeed? Now, with what we have on ground now, do you think that no other party can do better than this present administration?
I don't think so. Party is not what is the problem. Good governance, good leadership is the qualitative of the grassroots politician that has come to deliver the people. I am now a grassroots. How am I a grassroots? Do you stay in Abuja, a villa, as a minister? Week to week, you've not gone to your people to know how they're faring. You understand? This is young man that you can see he's dressing. By me, you're looking at his financial dressing, you know he's a grassroots man. He can stay here and then chop amala, chop a wedu.
Is that what determines a good leader?
You can stay here.
Is that what determines a good leader?
Beyond that, he is putting in place those dilapidated infrastructure that Fayemi failed to do before.
Okay, doctor, we're not here to converse.
Bridges, you see, market, all the dilapidated market. If you before if you know Ekiti, go to Ekiti now. The market, some market, you see people selling and there's rain falling, it's beating all of them. But go take it today. I'm not saying because it's the PDP man. PDP is just a name, it's a symbol. So we cannot take, because we cannot address issue of nomenclature as regards or a view to bring in somebody whom you know can do better. There are other people that are doing better. Without it, party name is by the side. Why they have leader is you who can be able, who look at the vision of the people and be able to identify with the people and identify with the professional that can deliver. Because a leader cannot do it alone.
Doctor, well, I'm going to come back. We need to really come back to this because this is really a test for 2019 elections. Yeah. And I'm going to take you through the elaborate and robust security arrangement being put in Ekiti State as we speak, 30,000 policemen. We know that in Nigeria, when you talk about elections, people are usually scared because of what the outcome will be. But for Ekiti right now, let's look at security before we go to INEC. Look at security. Do you think the 30,000 police personnel is enough for that state?
Why 30,000 policemen? Why 30,000?
Why not 30,000?
Good. If you have not had any agenda either to rig, why bring in 30,000 policemen? Have you been able to send in 5,000 policemen where we have herdsmen killings and where we have all these problems? As at yesterday, bloodbath in Taraba, Adamawa, the first day. What are we telling? Who is robbing Peter to pay Paul? How much are you going to pay these people? And there's no way all these people going there, 30,000, will not get allowances, apart from the salary.
But doctor, you also agree with me that when the PDP were in power and there was election in Ekiti State that brought in Fayose, the former Minister for Defense, who is now with the APC, Musili Obanikoro, deployed army men to Ekiti.
Wounded men, not just army alone, they were wounded men that was deployed there.
No, that is an assertion.
What's the different contradiction between then and now?
It's a belief that there were going to be fracas. That is, you know, they gave an alert, and you cannot wait. They gave alerts to them before those things happen. Now, Ekiti is as cool as any other state that is doing well. Ekiti has, see, if you go to Ekiti today, give them money, they know where they're going. If you like, carry 10 billion, share them. They know where they're going. They are not stupid people. Nigeria has become an advanced place. Even the little child in the village knows now that you are giving me money. Why are you giving me this money? He will translate or something. He will tell you why you're giving.
Okay, but I know that it's important that we look at security of lives and also property.
It's good.
And maybe that's why they brought the 30.
But why don't you put the security of life ab initio in the first place? Why don't you send this 30,000 to continue to guide it? Why is it in the election time that you know the secret of life? See, nobody should play prank with Nigerians, you know, ideology. Nigeria is a place that God created and gave it all resources to be able to sit comfortably well with their citizenry. Today, do you think that God will be happy with us? He's not happy with our leaders. Major is not happy with our leaders. Whatever happens, believe me, you are going to answer when the time comes.
Now let's still on the Ekiti election this Saturday. Now, with preparations thus far, we've seen the security preparation be put in place, 30,000 policemen deployed down to Ekiti State, and on the part of INEC now, would you want to say INEC is truly prepared for this election?
Whether they are prepared, whether manual, whether electronic, whether by air, by sea, by land, Fayose and his people are on ground. Watch the two Larry. Watch the two Larry. That is how you equate, or maybe cumulatively checking the side that will win. Watch the two.
Okay, British government had advised INEC political leaders not to rig. They're warning them against rigging of these elections. All eyes have been centered on Ekiti election. Talking about rigging, do you see it coming?
Let me tell you what will happen. There's no way you can rob a very, very minded human being that have his two eyes open. You cannot rob me. There's social media now. There's electronics. People are there with their phone. Immediately, if Fayose will be the last man, because he has done so well for it, to have brought somebody that continuity will be, and then we will lose. Why can you sleep over that and come out and say, if APC like fire me, even the person that they produce as governor, there's a governor to be the former deputy of Fayose. As I'm telling you, to me, I'm an Igbo man. It's better than fire me. Fire me is too dull to rule Ekiti.
It's not about being dull or not. We're not trying to take sides here.
No, we're not taking sides. I'm telling you, I watched it too. Even when the deputy governor was still there, I've been in Ekiti. The first award we went to give a Fayose when he traveled, we couldn't get, was as a result of what we are seeing. No, South Nigeria doesn't give award anyhow. Our award comes in once in 10 years. We do it once in 10 years. And anybody that's falling within that award at the same time, we give. If you see you, fine. If you don't see you, that's all. It's not monetary award. It's not give money, I'll give award.
Now, let me quickly ask you this. Now, would you agree with me that the outcome of Ekiti election will determine what 2019 election generally will be in Nigeria?
It may not be Ekiti that will determine. Let me tell you.
It's a litmus test.
Let me tell you publicly. If you are not on ground in your place, forget about it. Even if you are incumbent, you might be removed.
But doctor, are you saying this because if the opposition APC happens to win, you're saying this that it will not be a reflection of what will happen in 2019?
APC is not going to. It should be an apparition. It's a dream of a dream. You cannot say, you cannot see sun and call it daily times.
Okay,
Doctor. Who is telling you that? Have you dreamt of?
Okay, Doctor, we're looking at a free and fair, credible election in Nigeria, and Ekiti is coming next on Saturday.
Yes.
How can we have free, fair, very credible election in Nigeria?
How we can do that is, let us look at intimidation, 1, humiliation, 2, and what we call going underground to face the other opposition.
Maybe we take it one step after the other. First, you said intimidation.
Intimidation.
Can you tell us?
Because these people, they are sending to Ekiti. Nobody knows their mission. You said you send security agencies to Ekiti. Who sent them? Tell me who sent them.
Federal government.
Federal government.
Yes.
On whose account? Is Ekiti now the ruling party state? It's not. So by the time you are sending that, even the man in question that the Senate have rejected being the IG of police, that is unfit to have any destiny outside the country and within the country, you still live in there. The man in EFCC, Magu.
Okay, I'm going to hold you on there. There's a caller. Let me hold you on there.
You see now is a picture of going to.
All right, we'll come back to you. Let's quickly take this call.
Okay, Mike, good morning to you.
Good morning, Zindera.
Yes, go ahead.
Please, I would like to contribute to the discussion.
Okay.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, my brother. Thank you.
Finish short of PDP winning in the region and sending 30,000 soldiers and police community is also not is abnormal. They should send the 30,000 to Benue, Plateau, and the Middle Belt and save lives there. We don't need 30,000 people, 30,000 soldiers or police in Ekiti for an ordinary election. The people have spoken even before the voted. Anything short of that is really serious. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Yes, go ahead.
He's said it all, you can see. Reactions are coming from the, not only, we are taking, PDP is taking a lot of states now. You will see it in your eyes happening. Because it's better to deal with that animal that has 10 teeth that will miss it for you than to deal with animal that has only 2 teeth but that can crush you to death. You will never see it.
So I asked a question and you were talking about it. How can we get free, fair election?
How we can get free, fair election is,
yes.
Can they allow every polling booth managers a free space? Ekiti has PDP, has Labour Party, only 3 additional coming out there. Can they allow these 3 managers of these various parties collate these results and push it to social media for us? Let all of them agree. We have done an election in this booth now, and we have PDP 10, APC 20, the Labour Party 5. Push it to the system.
All right, we'll continue.
Without general coalition.
Jacob Williams, good morning to you.
Good morning, my name.
Good morning.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, if you have free, fair, and credible elections in Ekiti State, I don't see how APC will win. Because I watched the rally of PDP. What did they call fire? They said custom attack. What that means is that the last election they had fire and fire shit. They defeated in only 16 local government. Just for you to know that the people of APC does not even want fire. So I don't know what is going to do that will be different that makes them to vote against him or in all the 16 local government. So bringing 30,000 policemen, 4,000 soldiers, and this is just a way of using federal might. And
we need to wrap it up.
Somebody who wants to consider them and say they want to compose for them. That's not possible. Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you to you. Good morning. Yes.
Okay.
Well, we're wrapping up.
Another person. So as you continue to get this call, if you have 50 call today, you will have 99.
But lots of some other persons have said that Fayemi is the right person for the state as well. So we have different. But we should look at how the election will go. We need to look at the electorate, also the politicians, what they are going to be informing the electorate.
Use
That's very important.
If you like anything you like in the kitty, use. The sledgehammer is there to decide, because that sledgehammer, if he hits the truth. Fayose has been truthful to the people, transparent to the people.
What will happen if you hear a different news?
If you hear different news, it will not work.
We're wrapping up.
We are trying to put fire into a state that has been very, very okay. Somebody has built it to a state.
Anyway, your thoughts anyway, but we're wrapping up now. Come this Saturday, what do you think the electorate need to do? What do you think the politicians need to do?
I'm promising the electorate, I'm promising them
the government.
That they should be very, very cordial. Respect the rule of law. Be part of what they are doing. Make sure that you don't allow them a space. Allow them a space, being that they will intimidate you or whatever. The police that sent there are coming there to do some work that they've been assigned to do. In fact, they were meeting in Abuja, what they are going to do. Let me tell you, we're following up. There is meeting that in ad hoc and very, what we call a secret meeting, what they have been asked to go and do. And with Fayose, with God, it will not work. They will not. That Ekiti will see it as a surprise.
Okay, we want to thank Dr.
We thank Ekiti people. Let shine your eye. All Ekiti people, shine your eye. This is the time they are trying to come and rob you how they rob other states that are now suffering as a result of mismanagement and telling us, giving us all fake promises. Today, all are fake.
Okay, we want to thank Dr. Chukwu Osita Patrick, Chairman, International Freight Forwarders Association, also a politician and a human rights activist. Thank you so much for coming on this segment of the program.
Thank you very much.
Well, up next is Superdawn Sports. We'll be right back.
Superdawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed. Now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.